Welcome in, everybody. Ty Bartellin with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time we head to our friends over there in Akron, Ohio, home of the Archbishop Hoban Knights with their girls basketball head coach, Ma'am Davis, joining me today. Coach Davis, how are we doing?
Oh, it's always a great day to be in the gym, and we just got finished with practice.
And you talk about practice as we're gearing up for opening tip-off too. It's scrimmage season officially. Talk to me right now how things are looking on your end too, from the perspective of how the girls are competing too, and highlight some of the roster names and some of the names we should get used to this year.
Sure. We've been working really hard in the preseason. We've just got back our volleyball and soccer kids who made a tremendous run in the state playoffs. So they're a little rusty basketball wise, but veteran wise, I'm real happy with where we are. Some of the big names that we'll see this season. We'll start off with Mercy Hurst signee, Niera Zig Stevens, who was our leading scorer last year. We'll go with our point guard, Zoe Hodge, which has a tremendous starting experience at the point guard. Our two guards are Amarie Davis, who's a senior this year, um, as well as sophomore Milan Pearson, who came on the scene late last season. And then my backup point guard is going to be another sophomore, Ella Bachmore, who got a couple starts last year and played significant minutes. And we'll round out the other two five spots with senior cap.
You talk about this roster, coach, and I mean, this is a field with a lot of experience. And I know last year was kind of another season where you don't make excuses, but the injury bug kind of bit you guys at some unfortunate points in the season. But you were able to battle through, you worked through it, still had a great season. And I felt like a lot of girls were forced to then have to step up in those certain spots, and you had to get the most out of some of these girls that maybe weren't used to those positions. How much stronger do you think that makes your team going into this year? How much more deep do you feel your team is this year?
We have six seniors on the roster that have significant playing time. My sophomore class is really pushing them for excellence, and they're very resilient. It's going to help us. We had to endure some injuries, as you said, and we were able to play different combinations. And we've been doing that thus far in the preseason. So I feel that regardless of the rotation that I use or the starters that I have, they know our system like the back of their hand, and they're going to be able to produce for us.
No doubt that Hoban always puts together one of the toughest schedules that they can too on every sport front too. And I noticed that the girls' side isn't any different too. A lot of premier and fun matchups it looks like on there. Talk to me about how this schedule is going to prepare you guys for that tournament run that you're looking to make.
Well, most definitely. I mean, our goal, because we do not have a league, is always to win the district and then advance as we possibly can. We open up with a regional semifinalist in Twinsburg, who has their entire roster back. So they're going to be a formidable opponent. Then we turn around a week later and we go down south to Columbus and play Big Walnut with Sydney Mobley and Rebby Largent, who are two top D1 kids in the state. Then we have kind of a local team in Howland, and then we are at our Hoban Hoop Fest. So no rest for the weary.
You love that competition, and like you said, it forces you to do different things. I feel like in each of those games, because each of one of those teams provide a little bit different strengths, and they'll test you in different ways. For you, I know you've constantly been one to adapt with the game and change as it's needed, and you know what works, and sometimes what worked a few years ago doesn't necessarily work now. But in all the things that you've changed, what is one thing that stays a constant and stays the same in all the teams you coach with the culture you try to foster?
Definitely, we lead with defense first. We need to get our girls in tip top condition. They need to understand concepts and philosophies, going end line to end line. And I think that over the years, we've been able to develop that. And they're just any new player that comes into Hoban, they just have to understand that system and understand that it's going to take a lot of willpower, a lot of work, and a lot of want to get the job done.
What does great basketball look like to you? Because I feel like for every coach, it could look different depending on their philosophy. What does great basketball look like in your eyes?
Three different components. Me personally, I love defensive pressure. Anybody that follows our team knows that. So getting after it, hounding the ball, pressure, being able to box out, rebound, and then the second, phase of the game is running in transition, getting the ball out to the right outlet area, getting the ball up the floor and converting before the defense has a chance to set up. And then obviously, if that doesn't work, the third is the offensive execution. We have a lot of plays that we run. We do a lot of screening action. We don't play a lot of open offense. And for me, it's just setting the right screen, the timing and spacing for that score.
What's something that maybe from an outsider's perspective, a fan's perspective, that they might not understand about the full grind of a high school basketball season?
Well, I think the typical fan needs to understand that it's just not, the hour and 15 minutes of a game. A lot of teams, us in particular, we go 6 days a week, 2.5 hours a day. But that does not include film sessions. That does not include weight room. That doesn't include getting your studies done, our chapel services, individual workouts. So it's all inclusive. These athletes put in a tremendous amount of time for the spotlight for only to be a 32-minute game.
I would be remiss to say that you are definitely one of the best in terms of high school girls basketball for the coaching realm too. And I know you're a humble individual, so you're not going to take that crown maybe, but I mean we're going to give you that kind of crown. With all the years of coaching and all the teams that you've been able to be able to have under your tutelage, what's one of the hardest lessons coaching has taught you, and how did it make you better?
I think the hardest thing is disappointing the kids when it comes to playing time, because we expect excellence. We expect 100% attendance. We don't give into some of them still do not get the playing time that they would like. And it's hard for me to look at a player and say, you know what, it's just not your time yet, or you got to be patient, when I know they're trying to give me their all. So what I've tried to do is be more transparent in my communication and letting them know in advance, what their role is. So the expectation is kind of on the table.
I got to tell you, coach, since I've just started dipping my toe into coaching with my daughter and her teams too. I've always faced a little bit of self-doubt of just wondering, all right, am I teaching them the right things? Am I doing things the right way? Am I going about it the right way? Do you still have those type of feelings at what you're doing now after the years of coaching you've put in? And if so, how do you combat those, and how do you get that reassurance from yourself?
Well, I'm entering year 36. And a coach always doubts themselves. And coaching is not an exact science. There's many ways to coach. The biggest thing is, like, after a loss, did I call the right play? Did I make the right timeout? Did I use the right combination? But I think how you combat that is continue to grow and learn. And so whether that's online videos, whether that's reading an article, whether that's picking up a play from someone, or going to a college and looking how their practices and games are played, we're always looking to grow and to improve.
You mentioned looking to grow, looking to improve. Obviously, stats are a great way to look at that. It's a great way to measure it, but it doesn't always tell the whole story. Aside from stats, how else do you look at player growth and player development to know that someone is growing in the game and with the team?
I think it's twofold. I think it's a physical part. Can they bring the skill set that we need to run whatever set we're running or run the defense? But it's also an emotional and a mental process. I mean, a lot of girls play AAU, but they play age group. So is a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old freshman, are they able to compete with an 18-year-old senior? So we look at that twofold. And we do a lot of film session, and we just don't always go off of analytics, but we look at team chemistry. I think is huge in the girls' realm. Do they get along? Do they understand what they're doing? Do they cheer for one another? And that's a big piece as well.
You've been the coach of a lot of good teams and a few handfuls of great ones. In your opinion, what separates the good basketball teams from the great basketball teams in your eyes?
Well, I think genetics. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you got to have the size. You have to have the athleticism, but not only that, you have to have that passion to get into the gym every day and not settle for backyard good. You have to look at the stage. And, I'm competing against, players from across the country and even some international players. So I think it's a combination of genetics, athleticism, and then that passion to work every skill until you get it right. And I've had those kids, and I've been very blessed and fortunate.
You know as well as I do, coach, but from being both a player and well as a coach too, that the electricity of a basketball game, especially a competitive one, I feel like there's nothing that matches that. When was the last time this game gave you goosebumps?
Ooh, every single time actually that I step on the court. I want the kids to succeed so much. They put the effort and the work in. When the time comes where I hate the smell of hardwood and I don't get up and get kind of butterflies in my stomach before I coach, and then it's time to retire. But every time I'm out there, it's a great day to be in the gym.
I always love the staff that you put around you too, because I think they help kind of foster that culture that you've always looked to achieve. What's the staff that's around you too? I feel like it never really changes a whole lot, but I want to always give you the chance to shout them out and give some love to those names that are going to be helping you out this year.
Well, any head coach that says their assistants are not important are telling a fib. They are the backbone of the coaching staff. I've had my group with me for many, many years. My sidekick, obviously, is my husband and assistant coach, Willie Davis. He's been with my for 36 years. Dave Nash is coming up on 15 years. I have Coach Danielle Howe, who's here in the building at Hoban, and she's been with me for about 4 years. And Nate Gatchett, who rounds out my freshman coaching staff, is with me for about 10. So I just think consistency, continuity, and a united front as far as the coaching staff brings wonders to a team and building a culture.
When we talk about every team going into this season, how they're going to measure a successful year is going to be different too, and it goes deeper than obviously just wins and losses, but that's one of the big components for you with when it comes to the end of the season. How are you going to measure success for this team particular?
Well, my girls have team goals, and we were 5 points shy of advancing to the state Final Four. And that's always in the back of their mind, woulda, shoulda, coulda. So I think, as I had mentioned earlier, we don't have a league title. So first and foremost, we're looking to win a district title. We're now in D2, so the landscape's going to look a little different. And then, go from there. So we at least want to get back to where we were a year ago, which is the regional final. And with a little skill, a little luck, maybe we'll get a little bit farther than that.
I'm certainly excited for it too. I think you guys have a great group of girls over there too, and they got that hunger and that desire to go far. And I feel like with that too, and paired with their skill, that they can do just that. Final question for you, Coach, before I let you go. And it's a theme question that I'm asking all head coaches this year. I always like my theme questions every year for my coaches. And it goes beyond the sport of basketball. And it is, what moment made you realize that this job was more than just basketball?
Wow. Gosh, I've had so many memories over the last 36 years, but I can say truly it's more than basketball when one of my players had their own child and she asked me to be her godmother. And that is truly generational type uh, relationships. And I think that's what basketball is going to be known for when it's all said and done is those personal connections and memories.
Well, Coach, we definitely know that we've made a lot of personal connections and memories too with all the coaches in the YSN family, including you and these Archbishop Hoban Knights. We're wishing you guys the best of luck this season, and within due time, we'll be seeing you out there on the hardwood real soon.
Appreciate the invite, Ty, and looking forward to your broadcast.